Imagine this, you have bought your first drone. You are excited. You charge it up, step outside, and you have absolutely no idea where you are legally allowed to fly. Can you fly over your apartment building? Do you need a license? What happens if something goes wrong? If you ever had these questions, this video is made for you. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Aerosouls Training Program. This is India's structured pathway into the drone industry. I am Arun Prajapati, and today we are covering Unit 3 of Chapter 1, and this one is critical. We are going to break down the complete regulatory framework from the Drone Rules 2021 all the way through to the 2024 amendments. There are total 3 amendments that we are going to see in this video. We'll go rule by rule, explain each and every rule in detail, and by end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do fly legally and build a career in this industry. Think of this video as a regulation sheet explained by someone who actually wants you to understand it. Let's get into it. Alright, so the Drone Rules 2021 was first published on 25th August 2021 by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. This was a big deal. It replaced the more complicated the UAS Rules 2021 and created a much cleaner, more liberal framework for drone operations in India. Now, let's start with the basics. Who do these rules apply to? They apply to 3 sets of people. First, anyone who owns, operates, leases, transfers, or maintains the drone in India. Second, all the drones which are registered in India. Third, all the drones which are being operated over the Indian territory. But here's something important. If you are in Indian Navy, Army, or Air Force, these rules don't apply to you. Military drones operate under completely a different framework. Also, the drones which weigh more than 500 kg are governed by the older aircraft rules of 1937. Now, the rule number 3, which gives us the key definitions, and you must know these. Let me walk you through the most important ones. First is simply defined as Unmanned Aircraft System or UAS. So every time you see UAS in this video, just think drone. The Digital Sky Platform. This is DGCA's online portal. Think of it as a government drone control center. Previously, registrations, permission, pilot certificate, everything used to be issued from the Digital Sky Platform. But now, the government has upgraded all these things on the EGCA portal. Now, the Digital Sky Platform is actually used for UTM, that is Universal Traffic Management. Registration, permission, pilot certification, all this, everything goes through here. The URL is digitalsky.dgca.gov.in. Bookmark it right now. Now, the 3 airspace zones. This is something that every drone pilots must memorize it. Green zone. This is the airspace up to 400 feet from the ground level. In the green zone, you can fly without prior permission, but this is very important. You still need to do pre-flight check on Digital Sky Platform. Free to fly doesn't mean fly without checking it. Yellow zone. This is a restricted airspace. You will need air traffic control permission before you fly here. The area between 8 to 12 kilometers from the operational airport up to 200 feet is the area where you can fly without any prior permission, but again, free to fly doesn't mean fly without checking. Next, the red zone. Absolutely no fly zone. Only the central government can grant the permission to fly over here, and that too only in exceptional circumstances. Think of borders, sensitive government installations, airports themselves. NPNT. No permission, no takeoff. This is a hardware and firmware feature that physically prevents a drone from lifting off if it doesn't have the required permission. It's mandatory. And UIN. the unique identification number. This is your drone's registration number. Every drone which is registered get 1 UIN. No UIN, no legal flight. All these definitions are very important. Keep them in mind. Okay, so now we know what a drone is. But here's the thing, not all drones are treated equally under the law. The rules classify drones in two ways, by type and by weight. Let's start with the type, which is mentioned in the rule number 4. Drones are categorized into three types. First, the aeroplane, the fixed wing drones. Second, the rotorcraft, your typical multi-rotor drones like the ones most of us picture. Third, the hybrid UAS, drones that combine both. They take off vertically like a rotorcraft but fly horizontally like a plane. Each of this can be further subcategorized as: first one, remotely piloted aircraft system. A human is controlling it in real time, which would be also referred as RPAS. Second, the model RPAS, which is used for education, recreation, or research, which must weigh under 25 kg and be flown within the visual line of sight. Autonomous RPAS. The drone flies itself using pre-programmed instructions. Now, rule number 5 classifies the drones by weight, and this classification directly impacts what permission, certification, and exemption apply to you. So, pay close attention. First classification of drones is Nano, which weighs 250 gram or less. Think a small toy drone. These drones have the most relaxed rules. No type certificate, no pilot license, no prior permission is needed in the green zones. If you are just starting out, the Nano drone is the most regulation friendly option. Second classification is the micro drones, which weighs more than 250 gram up to 2 kg. Your photography drones fall here. The drones for commercial use requires a remote pilot certificate, and for non-commercial use you are exempted. The third classification of drone is small drone, which weighs more than 2 kg up to 25 kg. Survey drone, agricultural drone, this is a very active commercial category, and for these drone full compliances are required. The fourth classification, the medium drones, which weighs more than 25 kg up to 150 kg. These drones are generally cargo delivery drones and heavy duty commercial use. And the last classification, that is large drones, which weighs above 150 kg. These are serious industrial systems. Full regulatory weight applies on it. Now, here's a practical tip. Before you buy any drone for commercial use in India, figure out its category. That one number, the weight, will tell you exactly what you are getting into from a regulatory standpoint. Alright, now we are getting into the certification territory. Rule 6 says it plainly: no type certificate, no drone shall operate in India unless it has a type certificate, or TC as it's commonly called. So, what is a type certificate? Think of it as a government stamp for quality approval for a particular model of a drone. It says that this design has been tested, it meets Indian standards, and it's safe to fly. So the question arises, who issues it? The Director General of DGCA, on the recommendation of Quality Council of India, or QCI. How does this process work? Let me walk you through the complete flowchart step by step, which is as per rule number 9. Step 1. The manufacturer prepares the prototype and applies via form D1 on the EGCA portal along with the fee of rupees 100. Yes, just rupees 100. The government deliberately kept the fees low to encourage the industry. Step 2. The prototype is physically handed over to the authorized testing entity. The QCI or the testing entity examines the proposal and run the test. Step 3. Within 60 days, they submit their test report with recommendation to the Director General. Step 4. If satisfied, the DGCA issues the type certificate within issues the type certificate within 15 days of receiving the report. Very important, we should not miss the Rule 7. Now, Rule 7 mentions that the standards for type certification are set by QCI and they specifically promote two things. First, Made in India technology, and the second, NAVIC, India's own GPS system. It is good to know if you are in manufacturing or R&D. The foreign regulator approval can be accepted. If a drone model has been certified by a regulator of a country that's the contracting state to the Chicago Convention, India can accept that certification. This is how many international drone brands operate in India. Now, coming to the next rule, rule number 11 says that imports are regulated by DGFT, the Directorate General of Foreign Trade. So, if someone importing the drone commercially, they need to comply with the trade policy in addition to these aviation rules. Now let's look at Rule 12, mandatory safety features. Every drone that has registered must have these three technologies in their drones. First one, NPNT hardware and firmware. No permission, no takeoff. The drone literally cannot fly without valid permission. Second, real time tracking beacon. This continuously broadcasts the drone's location, altitude, speed, and the UIN. Authorities can track every registered drone in real time. Third, the geofencing capability. The drones can be programmed to refuse entry into a restricted zone. And the 13th rule, that is the exemption from the type certificate. Specifically, all the model RPAS and Nano drones doesn't require any type certification. Okay, so your drone has a type certificate. Now what? You need to register it and get a unique identification number, the UIN. Think of this as your drone's Aadhaar card or your vehicle's chassis number. Rule number 14 of the drone rules is very clear. No person shall operate a drone without first registering it on EGCA portal and obtaining a UIN. No exception unless you are specifically exempt. DGCA maintain the official registry of all the registered drones. How do you register a drone? Rule 15 will tell us. Step 1. Apply on the EGCA portal by filling form D2. Second step. Pay the fee, just rupees 100. Step 3. Your UIN gets linked to these three things. The manufacturer's serial number on the drone. Second, the flight control module serial number. Third, remote pilot station serial number. This sort of linkage is important. It means if you ever replace any of these core component, you have to update on EGCA portal through form D2 within 7 days of any such changes or before the next flight, whichever comes first. You should not skip this step. It sounds small, but non-compliance can get your UIN cancelled. Now, let's move on to the next rule, rule number 16. This specifies the special provision for drones that were already in the market before this rules came into play. Any drone which was manufactured on or before 30th November 2021 was given a window to register. To qualify for registration, it needed three things. First, a valid drone acknowledgement number issued through Digital Sky platform. Second, a GST paid invoice of the purchase. And third, to be a part of DGCA's published approved list. The original 31-day deadline was later extended by the 2022 amendment. We'll cover that shortly. Now the next rule, that is rule 17. Now the next rule number 17 and 18, that is transfer and deregistration. For both, form D3 has to be filled up on EGCA portal. For transfer, whether you are selling, leasing or gifting your drone, both parties need to be electronically verified on the Digital Sky platform and now on EGCA portal. A transaction number is generated as a proof which is recorded by the DGCA for subsequent years. For deregistration, this happens when a drone is permanently lost or permanently damaged. You apply via D3 form, and once it is processed, a transaction number is generated for your record. Until this time, we have explored 4 parts of the Drone Rules 2021, among which first one was preliminary, in which there were 3 rules. Second part that is completely related to classification of the drones, which was classified as per type and weights. Part 3, we have explored in part 3 the type certification. What are the actual procedure to get the type certification? And the part 4 that we have explored together, which was the registration of the drone. If your drone is not registered, you cannot even fly it. Now it's the time to start the next part, which is related to operational. So every pilot, you must be very familiar about this part, specifically all the pilots. So let's move on to the next rule. Part 5 provides specification which affects every single drone flight, that is, airspace and operational rules. This is where regulations becomes your daily reality as a pilot. Rule number 19, the airspace map. The central government publishes an airspace map on Digital Sky platform that covers the entire Indian airspace, which is divided into 3 zones: red zone, green zone and yellow zone, with a resolution of 10 meters. The central government publishes the airspace map that covers the entire Indian airspace, divided into green, yellow and red zones, with a resolution of 10 meters. And this map is a machine readable, which means your drone can automatically detect which zone you are in. And the rule number 20 requires this to be accessible via an API so that pilot can plot their flight plan digitally before taking off. Let me summarize these 3 zones simply. First, the green zone up to 400 feet from the ground, and also which is far from an which is 12 km far, and also an area which is 12 km far from an airport perimeter. That means any zone which is greater than 12 km from a airport, that zone is a green zone, which also tells that it is a free fly zone. But never forget to check on the Digital Sky platform before each and every flight. Next, the yellow zone, which is 5 to 12 kilometers from the airport perimeter. It again classified a permitted flight and a restricted flight. Permitted flight is a flight if you are in 8 to 12 kilometers from the airport perimeter, you can fly up to 200 feet from the ground. But if you are in 5 to 8 kilometers from the airport perimeter, you need permission from the air traffic control. So again I say, that's why it is mandatory to check Digital Sky platform before every single flight. Next, the red zone. Borders, sensitive government installation and the airport themselves. Only central government can grant access. Treat this as a no-fly zone in practice. Let's proceed to the next rule, rule number 21, the mandatory pre-flight check. As I am always saying, before every single flight, a pilot must check the Digital Sky platform for any notification or restriction in an intended area. This is not optional, it's mandatory. Rule number 22, that means no prior permission if you are in a green zone. But again, green zone means a free fly zone, but free fly zone comes with a mandatory flight check. Next, rule number 23, the dynamic nature of zoning. Zones can change, the government can reclassify an area, but any such changes takes effect after 7 days of its announcement. So you always have a notice. Next rule, rule number 24, the temporary red zone. This is interesting. If there is an emergency, a security event, or a VIP movement, a disaster, the state government or law enforcement can declare a temporary red zone for up to 96 hours. This must be declared by an officer of at least Superintendent of Police rank. An effort will be made to notify all UIN holders within 5 kilometers of radius. But again, it's the pilot's responsibility to check before flying. The notification is courtesy, not a guarantee. Now, the pilot's code. Rule number 26 to rule number 30. These are your behavioral obligation as a drone operator. Before heading to the rule number 26, I would be adding the rule number 25 that the state government and every law enforcement body would have the direct access. In fact, the central government and state government and the law enforcement body will have the direct access to digital sky platform. Now, coming to the rule number 26, the safe operations. Do not fly in any manner that endangers any person or any property. This seems obvious, but it's legally binding. Rule number 27, prohibition to carry arms, ammunition, and explosive, etc. Absolutely no weapons, no ammunition, no explosives should be carried on drones. And this is one of the two violations that may be classified as cognizable and non-compoundable, which means police can arrest you without a warrant and you cannot pay your way out of it. The next rule, rule number 28, carriage of dangerous goods. Carriage of hazardous material must comply with the Aircraft Carriage of Dangerous Goods Rules 2003. The next rule, rule number 29, the right of way. This is non-negotiable. Manned aircraft always has the right of way over your drone. Always, no exception. If a helicopter is approaching your airspace, land your drone immediately. Rule number 30, mandatory reporting of an accident. If anything goes wrong, any accident involving your drone must be reported to DGCA through Digital Sky platform within 48 hours of such accident. Alright, this section is particularly important. Alright, this section is particularly important if you're watching this video because you want to build a career in drones. We are talking about who gets to fly commercially and how to get there. Rule 31 clearly says that only the holder of valid remote pilot certificate or RPC enlisted on the EGCA portal can operate a drone. No certificate, no commercial flying. Rule number 32 says your RPC must specifically mention the category, subcategory, classification of drone you certified to fly. You can have multiple endorsements, but you can only legally fly that your certificate covers. As you can see, the picture of the RPC, a valid remote pilot certificate, has the things. You can see the RPC number, you can see the validity, you can see the endorsement. That endorsement is the rotorcraft, it is an R pass, it is a medium class of US, the training category is VLOS, that is visual line of sight. So all this thing must be mentioned in your RPC, then only it could be considered as a valid RPC. Rule number 33 clearly specifies about the eligibility for getting a RPC. Three conditions and all of them should be met. 1. Age 18 to 65 years. Both minimum and maximum are enforced. That means dot 18 years won't be feasible to get you considered as a valid eligibility. You won't be have a valid eligibility. Second, education. Class 10 pass from a recognized board. That's it. This is intentionally accessible. The government wants as many people as possible to qualify. Third, the RPTO training. You must complete an approved training course from an authorized remote pilot training organization. Now, how do you actually get your RPC? Rule 34 gives us the step by step. Step 1. Enroll and complete the RPTO training program for the category of drone you want to fly. Step 2. Pass the test conducted by the RPTO. Step 3. Within 7 days, the RPTO submits your details through D4 on the EGCA portal with a fee of ₹100. Step 4. Your RPC is issued through EGCA portal. You can easily download your valid RPC just logging on the EGCA portal with your EGCA ID. The next rule, rule number 35, that specifies about the validity of your RPC. Your RPC is valid for 10 years. It's renewable also for up to 10 years on payment of ₹100. Just ₹100. Refresher courses will be mandated by the DG from time to time. Rule number 36 specifies about exemption for those who should not require a valid RPC. The nano drone operators and the micro drone operators for non-commercial purposes never require an RPC for the flight. If you are flying professionally, get your RPC, it's your license to earn. Now, it is very important to understand who actually trains you. The RPTO, Remote Pilot Training Organization. Let's understand their framework. Rule 37 says that only an authorized RPTO can impart training for drone pilots. None of the coaching can do this. Only authorized RPTOs. To get authorized, an RPTO applies Form D5 through EGCA portal with a fees of just Rs 1000, and the DG grants the authorization within 60 days if all the criteria are met. The authorization for a RPTO is valid for 10 years and could be renewable for another 10 years. So, rule number 39 specifies the procedure that we have explored. Rule number 40 specifies the validity of a particular RPTO, which is about 10 years and can be renewable for every 10 years. And next, rule number 41. It specifies what does RPTO actually do. Issue remote pilot certificate to successful trainees, conduct proficiency test, file D4 for the successful trainees for issuing the RPC, ensure full compliance with the DGCA syllabus and the standards. All the training requirements are specific to each drone category. So, if the organization trains for an agricultural drones, that's different from training for survey drones. For those of you who are thinking to start your own RPTO, this is a very viable business opportunity in India right now. The demand for certified pilots is growing faster than the supply. So what all things we have seen till this part of the video? We have observed, we have explored 7 parts of the Drone Rules 2021. First part we have seen preliminary to the Drone Rules 2021. Second part we have seen classification of UAV in the Drone Rules. Third part we have seen type certification, that is certification of UAV. Fourth part we have seen the registration procedures of UAV. Fifth part we have seen that the operation, the actual operational skills that is required by pilot to understand and remember for each and every flight. Part 6, we have seen how to get a valid RPC, what is the validity of RPC, all the procedure we have explored together. And part 7, what is an RPTO, what all things are required to get an authorization of RPTO. Now, let's move on to the next part of the drone rules. Rule number 42 specifies about all the institution who actually does research and development. Certain entities are completely exempt from type certificate, UIN, prior permission and remote pilot certificate requirements when operating drones for research, development and testing. Who all qualifies? First, the government R&D entities. Second, government recognized educational institutions. Third, DPIIT recognized startups. Fourth, authorized testing entities. UAV manufacturers with a valid GSTIN. There are certain critical conditions for these institutes. All such operation must happen in a green zone and within the organization's own premises or a controlled open area. This is a massive exemption that the government has built in to fuel the drone industry with the innovations. If you are a startup or an engineering college, you have significant freedom to develop and test drone technology without the full regulatory burden. Next rule, rule number 43, which specifies the complete traffic management of the drones. That means UTM, Unmanned Traffic Management. The government must publish a policy framework for managing drone traffic, like air traffic control but for drones. This framework covers automated permissions, cargo corridors across the zones, and the role of state governments. This is the foundation for the future of drone delivery networks in India. Once this would be published, the drone delivery would be easily feasible across the India. Next, the rule number 44 specifically specifies about insurance. Third-party insurance is mandatory for all drones. On such third-party insurance, the provision of Motor Vehicle Act applies. In this rule, the only nano drones are being exempted for getting the third party insurance. They can fly without any third party insurance. And the next, the rule number 45, US Promotion Council. The government can set up a promotion council to foster the Indian drone ecosystem, which includes the incubators, policy inputs, and other competitive events. They also produce a 6-monthly report on the drone sector's economic impact. Now, moving to the next part, that is part number 12, the last part but the most important one. In this part, there are total 10 rules, but these are the one with the real consequences. Rule number 46. Rule number 46 specifically specifies about the fees that is being charged, and I want you to really look at these numbers. For type certification, you fill D1 form with the rupees 100. For registration, you fill D2 with the fee rupees 100. For transfer or deregistration, you fill the form D3 with the fees rupees 100. For remote pilot certification, you fill the form D4 with the fees rupees 100. And for authorization of RPTO, you fill the form D5 with the fees 1000 rupees. This aren't the revenue numbers. There is a government saying, we want you inside the system. The fee is symbolic. Get registered, get licensed, and just do it. The fee specified by the Rule 46 directly goes to the government, and the fees that are charged by the RPTO that are separate, and those are market link prices which can be higher and which differs from RPTO to RPTO. Now moving to the next rule, which actually enforces, that means Rule 47 to Rule 54. These are the enforcement. These create a great causes, so you should never forgetting it. Next, rule number 47. The government can issue direction of US to all the operators at any time. Rule number 48 specifies that government can exempt operators depends on the system's flexibility. Next, rule number 49, and this is the important one. Flying in a red zone or yellow zone without prior permission or carrying arms on a drone, these are cognizable and non-compoundable offense, which means arrest without a warrant, and you cannot pay your way out of this. It might be considered as a criminal process, and there would be a full stop in your career. Next, the rule number 50. The penalty can go at maximum 1 lakh rupees. This penalty is charged only after giving an opportunity of being heard, and those reasons must be recorded in writing. And you should keep in mind all this process are mandatory. Next, the rule number 51. The Director General can inspect your aircraft, your facility, your personnel, your documents at any time. Rule number 52 specifies that any obstruction which is caused during an inspection by a DG or authorized person of DG is itself an offense. So, you should not obstruct any person during the inspection. Next, rule number 53. If found guilty after hearing, your RPC, your authorization, your licenses, all of them can be cancelled or suspended. And the last but not the least, rule number 55. The old rules, Unmanned Aircraft System Rules 2021, are cancelled and replaced by the Drone Rules 2021. But anything happened under the old rules still counts. Now to conclude this part, I have a statement. 1 lakh penalty might be sounding modest, but after combining it with criminal liability, license suspension, and loss of contracts, the real exposure is far higher. So, know your zones, maintain your credentials, and treat compliance as ongoing process and not like a one-time checkbox. Now, let's summarize all the 12 parts of the Drone Rules 2021. The part number 1, which specifies about the preliminary things like to whom all these drone rules actually applies, and what are the different definitions have been covered in the drone rules, and what all important words that have been covered in the complete drone rules have been defined in a particular rule, that is rule number 3. Next, part number 2, which specifies the category and classification of the drones. Next, the part number 3 that clearly specifies how a manufacturer of a drone can get their drone type certified. Next, part number 4 which clearly specifies how a type certified drone can be registered on the EGCA portal after filling the form D2. The complete process have been concluded in the rules. And the next part, part number 5, which clearly specifies what all things an operator must check before the flight and after the flight. And after any accident, he must report to DGCA within 48 hours. The next part, part number 6, clearly specifies about the remote pilot certification process, where the complete process of getting remote pilot certificate have been enclosed. And the next part, part number 7, which clearly specifies the actual process for an remote pilot training organization to getting an authorization. And part number 8, which clearly specifies the exemption to all the institution, colleges and the research and development department of any company operating under their own premises. And the next part, part number 9, which clearly specifies about the provision of universal traffic management. And the next part, part number 10, which clearly specifies about the provision for insurance, the third party insurance of your UAS. Next, the part number 11, which clearly specifies about the promotion of UAS. And the last but not the least, that is part number 12, which says that it is the miscellaneous part, but again it has the highest consequences, which must be remembered by each and every operator and specifically the instructor of the remote pilot training organizations. So these drone rules are very important for all the people who actually operates in drone industry. Now, as you know, the drone rules was first published in the year 2021 and it's been 5 years. So every year the DGCA has brought some changes and amended it. So let's move on to hear all the amendments. And this is where the rules get refined over the time based on what actually industry needs. The first amendment, 2022 amendment, was first notified on 11th February 2022. The headline changed. The single word license was replaced by the word certificate throughout all the rules. But what does that actually means? Under the original drone rules 2021, the remote pilot license was issued by the Director General of DGCA, which include a process. You train at an RPTO, you pass the test and then wait for the DGCA to issue your license. This actually created a bottleneck and the person who has completed the training had to wait lot of time for the license. And the 2022 amendment shifted all of this. Now, the remote pilot certificate is directly issued by the authorized RPTO by the DGCA. The 2022 amendment shifted all of this. The remote pilot certificate was now directly issued by the RPTO, which is authorized by DGCA. The RPTO files the D4 form after your training and the certificate issued is directly through Digital Sky platform. And now, in the current scenario, it is directly issued from EGCA portal. Why all does this matter? It matters because of the speed and the scale. India needs tens of thousands of certified drone pilots and centralizing the process at DGCA would have created a massive delays. By empowering RPTO to issue the certificate directly has created the certification pipeline more efficient and this is what it matters. So what are all the key changes in the 2022 amendment? Rule number 16. The deadline of drone registration was extended to the date 31st March 2022. So, if you have a drone before 30th November 2022 and hadn't registered yet, then you have got an extra time. And in the forms D1, D2, D3 and D5 for all government entities like ministries, police forces and defense establishment were exempted from the DIN requirement. This change actually makes sense because the government body don't have DINs like the private companies do. And the rule number 34, the sub rule 4, this sub rule that requires the DG to issue the certificate within 15 days was removed as the certificate was directly issued by the RPTO, because now the RPTO does the issuing and the process happens through Digital Sky platform and now through EGCA portal. So the 2022 amendment was completely about decentralization, which means taking power from a single government office and distributing it to all the authorized remote pilot training organizations. Now coming to the next amendment, 2023 amendment. The 2023 amendment was notified on 27th September 2023 and took effect on 3rd October 2023. This one is small in size but significant in impact. The actual change was to form D4, the Remote Pilot Certificate application, specifically serial number 5 in Part A, the identity requirement. Before the amendment, the only acceptable identity proof for a pilot applicant was an Indian passport number. After the amendment, you can now use Indian passport number or a government issued proof of identity plus a government issued proof of address such as voter card, ration card or driving license. Why does this matter? Think about how many talented, capable people in India do not own a passport. Passport ownership in India is still relatively low, especially in rural areas, smaller towns, and among lower income populations. By requiring a passport, the 2021 rules were inadvertently locking out millions of potential drone pilots from getting certified. With this amendment, anyone with voter ID, ration card, or driving license can become a certified drone pilot. A farmer in Punjab who want to operate an agricultural drone for his farms, a young woman in a rural district who wants to fly for a delivery company, they are now included. This amendment was mainly driven by feedback from the industry and government observation. They saw that many emerging drone operators simply don't have the passports. The fix was very simple and the impact is very enormous. Important note that only D4 form was changed in this amendment. The pilot certificate form, registration and transfer forms remain unchanged at this point. And now we come to the most recent amendments, the 2024 amendment, which was notified on 21st August 2024 and effective from 23rd August 2024. This amendment begins with something unusual for a legal document but a policy announcement. It references the Prime Minister's Drone Ki Udaan initiative, which was announced from a Red Fort, a scheme specifically designed to provide financial support and training to women self-help groups for operating and repairing drones. The government observed something important in this field. Emerging drone owners in rural areas, especially women in SHGs, often don't have a passport. The 2023 amendment fixed this for the pilot certification, but the problem also existed in the registration and transfer form D2 and D3. So, 2024 amendment made the same fix but for the three different form fields. Form D2, Part A, serial number 5, the registration. The passport requirement was replaced with Indian passport number or voter ID, ration card, driving license. Form D3, Part B, serial number 6, transfer details. The same change, passport is no longer mandatory. Form D3, Part C, serial number 18. Again, the same change, passport no longer mandatory. This is a significant change because the complete life cycle of a drone, from registration to transfer, can be handled by someone without a passport. A woman in a village can now legally own a drone, register it, and transfer it using only her ration card. The 2024 amendment, it's about making sure that the drone revolutions in India reaches every corner of the country, not just urban professionals who happen to have passport. Consultations were held with the Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, and multiple stakeholders, all of whom supported this change on the grounds of ease of doing the business and democratizing the drone opportunities. Now, let's take a step back and look at the full timeline. In August 2021, the Drone Rules 2021 was launched. Complete 12-part framework, 55 rules, Digital Sky platform which was upgraded to EGCA portal today and the UIN system. In the February 2022 amendment, license becomes certificate, RPTO gets empowered, government entity exemptions added, registration deadline extended. In October 2023, the amendment 2023. Voter ID and ration card accepted for the pilot certification, millions more included as a pilot. In August 2024, the amendment 2024. Same inclusion extended to drone registration and transfer, drone ki Udaan, and the women SHGs. I would like to summarize this clear trend. Every single amendment has removed a barrier, made it easier, made it more inclusive, made it more accessible. That's the direction of travel for Indian drone regulations, and it's a very positive one. Okay, we covered a lot of ground today. Let me bring it all together with something practical, your compliant checklist. Whether you are flying for your first commercial job or you are setting up an operation, run through this list every time. Firstly, let's explore what are the checklists for pre-operation. Does your drone have a valid type certificate? Except for Nano and Model R Pass. Is your drone registered on EGCA portal? On EGCA portal with a valid UIN? Do you have a valid remote pilot certificate for this category of drone? Except for nano and micro for non-commercial purposes. Is your third-party insurance in place? Except nano. Have you done the pre-flight zone check on the Digital Sky platform? Have you verified your identity documents? Passport, voter ID, ration card, driving license? Let's explore what are the checklists for during operations. Are you in the correct zone with the required permissions? Are you giving the right of way to all the manned aircraft? Are you carrying no prohibited goods? Are you maintaining visual line of sight? Is your NPNT system active? Is your geofencing system working correctly? What all things needs to be checked post operation? If any accident occurred, report to DGCA within 48 hours via Digital Sky. If you replaced any hardware, update the serial number on Digital Sky within 7 days of such change. The maximum penalty for non-compliance is Rs 1 lakh. Rule 22 and 27 are cognizable and non-compoundable, which means arrest without any warrant. I would like to say, know the rules, follow the rules, and fly safe. And that's the complete drone regulatory framework for drones in India. From the foundational drone rules 2021 through all the three amendments up to 2024. Let me leave you with the one thought. India's drone industry is one of the fastest growing sector in the country. The government has deliberately kept the fees low, consistently removed the barriers, and invested in making this ecosystem even more accessible. The policy environment has never been better for someone who is looking to enter into this industry. But the people who will succeed are the one who actually knows the rule, who understand the framework, who fly with the compliance built by the DGCA. That's what this unit was about. And that's Aerosouls Training Program is about. Now, very important, all information presented is based on personal research and independent reading of publicly available government documents, including the Drone Rules 2021 and its subsequent amendments, as notified in the Gazette of India. The content does not constitute any legal advice, regulatory guidance, or any official interpretation of the law. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, all the regulations are subject to change. Viewers are strongly advised to refer to the official DGCA publication and Ministry of Civil Aviation for the most current and authoritative version of any rule or provision. At any point, if you spot an error or have a different interpretation or wish to add to the discussion, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. All the constructive feedback is always welcome and help make this better resource for everyone. This content is not affiliated with or representative of DGCA, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, or any government body. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and share this with someone who is thinking about getting into the drones or the drone industry. You might just change their career trajectory. The Digital Sky platform is available at www.digitalsky.dgca.gov.in. your single video for everything regulatory, and specifically the EGCA portal. It is easily accessible through DGCA website, that is www.dgca.gov.in. And for the complete Aerosouls training program, you can visit www.aerosouls.com. And reminder, know the rules and own the sky. I'll see you in the next unit where we will be going into detail what are all the regulation on the component. So till then, take care and fly safe.